Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today is Wednesday night. We are back again with some more content. And this time, for the first time in a few weeks, it is NFL content. We are back into the swing of things with NFL draft season. March Madness is officially in the book. Congratulations to the Florida Gators and Walter Clayton Jr. for winning the national championship in a damn good national championship against the Houston Cougars. Absolutely crazy finish there in San Antonio, but that's behind us now. We'll revisit the college basketball stuff next February towards March, but it was a fun tournament, historic Final Four, and it was a fun time. But we are back into the swing of things with the NFL content. We have the NBA playoffs coming up very, very soon. There's like 4 days left in the NBA season. It's actually Lakers and Mavericks tonight in Dallas. Luka Doncic's return to Dallas. So we'll be doing NBA playoff predictions next week, probably. So we're gonna have some very, very good content coming up with the NFL draft soon and the NBA playoffs. But we're gonna get right into it as we are gonna do my full team round one, full all 32 teams round one NFL mock draft. I believe this is number 3.5 now because I'm going to be including trades in this mock draft. But yeah, we're gonna get right into it, starting off with the Tennessee Titans and start draft. By the way, this mock draft simulator was made by someone on social media that's big in the NFL Twitter world. If I can give my credit and figure out who exactly it was, I will in the description down below. But this is a very, very good mock draft simulator. I'm a big fan of it, and I think it's a very good simulator. But enough of that. Let's get right into the mock draft. Okay, starting off, Tennessee Titans number one overall. There was a lot of controversy and questions for a while. Do they go Abdul Carter? Do they pick Cam Ward? Where do they go? At this point, I think it's pretty set in stone. They had a private workout with him. Cam Ward is going to be the Tennessee Titans pick at number one overall, and I don't think there's much disputing it at this point. But after that, it gets pretty rocky for me. I'm not gonna lie. Might be the least knowledgeable and like the most confused I have ever been about a draft at this point in April since I've been doing NFL stuff. So yeah, Cam Ward goes number one in Tennessee. Then you go to number two, Cleveland Browns. There's a lot of things rumored here. Originally it was Abdul Carter. Could it be Shador Sanders? Who knows? Or could it be Shador Sanders? Could it be Travis Hunter? Like, who do the Cleveland Browns go with here? The Browns obviously are in need of a quarterback. Deshaun Watson, that ship has sailed. Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berry have went out and said that it was a swing and a miss. Deshaun Watson is not the Browns quarterback of the future, and it was a bad move for them. So that ship has pretty much sailed the Deshaun Watson era in Houston. I mean, in Cleveland, but could they take Sanders at number two? I think it's possible, but a lot of people are not thinking that Sanders goes this early. His stock has been falling a little bit as of recent weeks. I think Cleveland's gonna end up going with Travis Hunter here. He's the highly likely guy at this point. Adam Schefter already said he thinks it's set in stone that Cleveland goes with Travis Hunter. But yeah, I think Travis Hunter ends up in Cleveland. Then you get to the Giants at number three. Obviously, they brought in Jameis Winston. They brought in Russell Wilson. They have two guys in the QB room at this point. Russell Wilson, he's expected to be the starter in New York, no matter they draft Sanders or not at this point. He's expected to start the season. Jameis Winston, a very, very quality backup, about the funnest backup in NFL history. But here, I think they're going to go with the edge rusher, pair a guy up with Kayvon Thibodeau, and go get Abdul Carter, in my opinion, the number one overall player in the draft from Penn State. Okay, that's how I think the top three goes. Then you go to New England. This is where it gets like, ooh, how does it go? How does it go? But here we go. New England Patriots. If one of these two guys, Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, was on the board at number four for them, I would have opted to go with them. But if New England is in this position, where do they go? You look at Mason Graham. New England could use an interior defensive lineman. Depends. Do they play Milton Williams, the free agent signing from Philadelphia? Do they play him inside? Do they play him at the end? Depends. You also could see Will Campbell. New England is in. big need of an offensive tackle. Could he go there? Interesting here. And I'm actually going to have my first trade of the draft. We're going to go to player. I don't want player here. We're going to pick a team, and I am going to pick the New Orleans Saints. Here we go. The New Orleans Saints trade up to number 4 in the draft. And you can probably imagine who I have going here. A 4-for-9 swap. Obviously, New England takes over number 9, trading up 5 spots this early in the draft. I'd assume New Orleans gives over number 40 and like number 112 or something like that. Let's see if that trade goes through. It does. So, New Orleans Saints move up to number 4. I bet you can imagine who I have going here. I have Kellen Moore's New England, New Orleans Saints selecting Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. Here's the thing: the New Orleans Saints mind. The teams in the middle obviously have Jacksonville, Las Vegas, the Jets, and the Panthers. Jacksonville, Jacksonville and Carolina, surefire. Probably not taking quarterback. Surely not taking quarterback. You look at 6 and 7. You look at Las Vegas, and you look at New York. Las Vegas. Tom Brady and Shedeur Sanders, they have a relationship. I think Las Vegas had a top 30 visit with Shedeur Sanders. The Jets still have the potential of drafting a quarterback, even with bringing in Justin Fields. So who knows what happens there. The Saints want to ensure they go get their guy. They trade up to number 4. They go get Shedeur Sanders. And then you get to number 5 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. This could go a bunch of different ways here in Jacksonville. They could use receiver help. Brian Thomas Jr. obviously was their first round pick last year, turned into a damn good rookie year. They could go D line, get a guy like Mason Graham. Is that where they go? That's the question. Now this is another tough one because mm, definitely go down there. Ted McMillan could be a guy that goes here. Jacksonville, they decide to get a receiver, but I do not think they're going to get a receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. can spurt into that number 1. I think they're going to end up going Mason Graham, pair a guy on the interior there, put him next to Trayvon Walker and Eric Armstead, and wreak some havoc on opposing offensive lines. So I'm going to have him going Mason Graham there. Las Vegas Raiders. Interesting here. Does Ashton Jeanty make his way to Las Vegas? A lot of people think he goes here. Do they opt to take a tackle? They could go with one of the top 2 tackles on the board here. The Raiders have a lot of holes. They have a lot of holes. There's a lot of ways they could go here. And I think that a prospect like this, a guy that broke records at Boise State in the Mountain West, is going to find his way to Las Vegas, not far away from Boise State, and it's the next Las Vegas Raider. Okay, we have a pretty heat top 6 so far. Here we go, number 7, New York Jets. We're going to roll right through this now. My hair's kind of sticking up today, huh? But number 7, New York Jets. Will Campbell could be a contender here. Armand Membou. They could opt to go tackle. Or they could go a guy like Tyler Warren, who the Jets tight end is a big need for them. Tyler Conklin is no longer there, I believe. I think he signed somewhere else. He signed somewhere else. I just can't remember exactly where he signed. But there's a lot of ways they could go here. Tackle could be the spot they go. They drafted tackle obviously last year. This is a rough spot. Tyron Smith did not resign. They could just go and snag a tackle. They could go and snag a tackle. They get Tyler Warren. I'm gonna have him snagging a tackle. I think I'm gonna have him going Will Campbell from LSU. In my opinion, number 1 overall tackle on the board to the Jets to protect Justin Fields, and they have 2 absolute units at tackle now. cornerstones for the future. Get to the Carolina Panthers. I think this is a slam dunk here. It's definitely defense. I mean, obviously defense. I mean, I guess they could go the receiver here, but I think it's definitely going to be defense. You look at the edge. You look at Michael Williams, the guy a lot of people like. Shamar Stewart, in my opinion, a late first round, early second round prospect. Mike Green, Donovan Ezeraku, James Pierce Jr. He might fall in the first round because of the character concerns. That's a big rumor around the NFL right now. But I think a lot of teams really like Mike Green. A lot of teams really like him. I don't think Shamar Stewart goes this early. Carolina did have a top 30 visit with him, I believe, but do they like him better than Mike Green? I don't know. Michael Williams, the Georgia product. Georgia defenders often go very high in the NFL. I'm going to say Carolina opts to go with Mike Green. Obviously played at Marshall, so that's a little bit of an asterisk there. But I think he's going to be an absolute beast in the NFL, in my opinion. Number one overall defensive end on the board. And I think that's where they end up going. New England obviously traded down from number 4 to number 9, as we saw before. New Orleans traded up for Shedeur Sanders. This pretty much slam dunk for me. New England is taking tackle here, no matter they picked a number 4 or they picked a number 9. They're taking an offensive tackle here, and Armand Membu off the board, number 9 to the New England Patriots. Pretty straightforward there for me, to be honest with you. Then you get to Chicago at number 10. This is a pretty much a question mark here, too. Interesting. Could they go Tyler Warren? General managers love him, has great character, is an absolute beast. Does he go this early? I don't know. Chicago does. They do like to use a lot of tight ends often. Obviously, you see Ben Johnson coming in there now. Does he keep that sort of trend? But you see Cole Kmet's already there. They have some tight ends. So I don't know if they go Warren here, but Warren might be too good to pass up. They could also go defensive end, Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart, someone like that to pair with Montez Sweat on the edge, and Dayo Odeyingbo, the free agent signing from Indianapolis. This is tough here. I don't know. This is tough here. I think I want to go Warren here. I think that's where they go. Cole Kmet is a really good player, but if you have two vertical threats like that, Tyler Warren and Cole Kmet as a duo, I'm gonna opt to go with Tyler Warren. I think that could go a lot of ways, but I think that's the direction they go. So give me Tyler Warren to Penn State. I mean Tyler Warren to Chicago. San Francisco 49ers. In my opinion, it's going to be a corner here. You look at the guys they lost. Diamador Lenore is still there, still a very solid player. But you look at Charvarius Ward. He spent a few years in San Francisco. He's off to Indianapolis to pair with the Colts now. So they need a corner, and that's, in my opinion, their biggest need. You look at the top two corners on the board, Will Johnson from Michigan, Jahdae Barron from Texas. A lot of general managers around the NFL have loved Jahdae Barron, and a lot of teams might be having him as cornerback 1 over Will Johnson. Do I buy that hype? I don't. I think the Niners are going to go with the Michigan man here, the proven guy that's had years on years stacked. Give me Will Johnson to the 49ers. Then you look at the Dallas Cowboys, a lot of different directions here. They failed to get a number 2 wide receiver this offseason, so it's CeeDee Lamb, and I think KaVontae Turpin and Jalen Tolbert are 2 and 3. Could they go with a guy like Matthew Golden here? Tet McMillan. Tet McMillan now falling out of the top 10. Again, a lot of ways they could go here. I really could see receiver. I could see receiver. Receiver sounds too good to pass up here. They missed out on Stephon Diggs. Brandon Cooks went to New Orleans. I'm gonna have them going with the receiver to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. Which receiver do they go with is the question. Tet McMillan, Matthew Golden. A lot of teams love Matthew Golden. But Tet McMillan, I think, is a guy, when it's good, it's amazing. So I'm gonna go with Tet McMillan. I don't see him falling any farther than this. And that is where I'm gonna go with Dallas's pick. They add another weapon alongside CeeDee Lamb for Dak Prescott. Miami Dolphins, this is pretty straightforward for me as well. We just saw, obviously, Terran Armstead retire. Banks is the pick here, in my opinion. Or you can go Connerly, but did the Dolphins go Connerly this early? I don't know. Well, I guess you could see a Miami Dolphins trade down here and they pick Connerly later, but I'm gonna go with Banks here to be safe. He could play as a guard in the NFL. It really depends where the teams want to play him, but he's listed as a tackle as his primary position, and that's where I'm gonna have the Dolphins drafting him at with for Teron Armstead replacement, and the Dolphins go with Banks. Indianapolis Colts. This team is the king of I have no clue where they're gonna go. Just zero clue. It's not gonna be a receiver. Michael Pittman and Josh Downs are a very, very good duo. Still have Alec Pierce there as well. A lot of different ways they could go. They could go guard. Tyler Booker is being mocked in the first round. Nick Iman is a guy they could go with. Cam Bynum's there now, but Iman is a guy that could step in. This is a tough spot. This is a tough spot to be in. I might have them trading down to a defensive end needy team. Because I feel like a lot of these mid tier prospects here could be just fall into the Indianapolis Colts lap. I'm gonna have a trade here. We're gonna have our second trade of the draft. We're gonna see. Hmm. Who moves up here? Let me see. I'm obviously gonna have someone moving up for a quarterback later in the draft, but or I could just have him stick and pick, I guess. I could have him stick and pick. Yeah, I'm gonna have him stick and pick, I guess. Why don't? Why am I gonna have him move down? I'm just gonna have him stick and pick. I guess we go with defensive end to replace Odiyingbo. Defensive end, they drafted Latu in last year's first round. They go DN 2 years in a row. Mm, Michael Williams. I don't know if Michael Williams goes that early. Shamar Stewart. James Pierce Jr. I think falls pretty late. It's gonna be one of these two guys if they go D end. I'm gonna have Indy taking Michael Williams from Georgia, I guess. It's gonna be one of the defensive ends in that position, but that's where I'm gonna have him going. Then you look at Atlanta, and I see the same exact thing. Outside linebacker, defensive end, Walker or Stewart. I'm gonna have the Georgia pass rushers going back to back. I'm gonna have Jalen Walker to the Falcons. And then here we go again. We get some defensive line pass rush needed teams with these four right here. Arizona Cardinals next up. Where do they go here? Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant. These two guys are two guys I could really see Arizona picking here. Arizona did bring in Dalvin Tomlinson, but they need more help on that interior. Walter Nolan, absolute beast. I think he goes above Kenneth Grant. Is that where the Cardinals go here? They could take Matt Golden. I don't think they go receiver though. 2 years back to back. Jade Barron, do they go corner? I really could see him going corner though. It's tough. Oh man, this is tough. I'm gonna have Arizona picking Nolan here. I think they need D line help, and it would break my heart to see it go this way as a Bengals fan, because I'm a big fan of Nolan, and I would like to see us pick him. But I think Arizona bolsters the interior D line there and goes with Nolan. Then you get to 17, my Cincinnati Bengals, obviously. Again, a lot of different ways this could go. Look at Shamar Stewart as a defensive end. A lot of Bengals fans are not a big fan of him. They think he should fall late first round to early second round. And I kind of agree. I'm not a biggest fan of Shamar Stewart. Jade Barron to the Bengals bolster the cornerback room. Jahad Campbell is a prospect I've fallen in love with. I'm a big fan of his. I think he is literally going to be a damn good linebacker in this league. And I think he's a beast. Malachi Starks, easily a first round prospect at safety from the Bulldogs, an absolute beast. James Pierce Jr., again, an absolute dog, in my opinion, top 15 player in the draft easily, but the character concerns are there. I'm going to go with Jahad Campbell as a guy I've fallen in love with. The Bengals are really deep diving at linebacker in this draft cycle, and that's the way I think they go. So give me Jahad Campbell. Seattle Seahawks. This could be an interior offensive line pick with Tyler Booker, but I think it might be too early to go to a guy like that. So it's probably a different direction they go here. Jahdae Barron. Do they get him? Pair him up with Witherspoon and Woolen. This is tough. This is tough, really. I think defensive end could be a spot they go here. Malachi Starks at safety. Add another piece to that secondary. A lot of teams like Iman Wari too. A lot of teams are big fans of his. Mm, this is a tough draw right here. Yeesh. I don't know. I could have a team trade up here, but I have something in my mind I'm gonna go with a little later on the trade up department. I don't think they're gonna go Barron, Colston Loveland, Malachi Starks, man. I feel like he's gotta go here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Malachi Starks to Seattle, a safety, plug and play, immediate starter on your team, and he steps in place next to Julian Love. That'd be a good addition. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, definitely not Matthew Golden here, but he's probably gonna go very soon. Another tough one. My mind on this draft cycle, like I am just totally blindsided. Like if you look at the draft, Cam Ward at Tennessee, I think everybody and their mother knows that. That's about the only thing. And then we've got more clarity over the past week or so of Travis Hunter at 2 and Abdul Carter at 3. Past that, miss me on everything. I don't know how it's gonna go at all. So bear with me on this a little bit. Um, this is about the most clueless I've ever been on the draft cycle at this point in April. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jahdae Barron, I guess. A lot of teams love him at corner. He could step in, be a good player. Jamel Dean, I guess they're number one right now. So I'm gonna go Barron here. I'm pretty lost in the cycle, but we're gonna keep rolling. And here is where I am going to have a trade happen. Denver Broncos, notice one pick above the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 20 is obviously going, and I'm gonna have the Cleveland Browns move up. Number 20, obviously, Cleveland folks over 33-67 and like 179 or something like that. Maybe it's not an exact realistic trade, but we're just gonna try to get it through to try to mock out the trade. Since it's only a one round draft, we can just try to get some things happen to make it go through. But trade, Cleveland moves up to number 20. Again, not an exact mock up of what a trade would actually look like, but we're gonna we just need to get it through. So the Cleveland Browns move up for a quarterback to number 20. Notice they move above the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think their guy is definitely one of these two. Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, Jalen Milroe from Alabama. I do think three quarterbacks go in the first round. Question is preference. Who likes who? Who's QB3 to most of these general managers, and who do they like? Jackson Dart, a lot of people like. I like Jalen Milroe personally. I think he's an absolute dog. I think he can run the football. I think he has a cannon of an arm, and I think he's damn good athletic. So I prefer him. Who do I think NFL teams prefer? I think they prefer Jackson Dart. I think they think he's more NFL ready. I think they think he's like less raw of a prospect. And I think that Jackson Dart is the third quarterback taken in the 2025 NFL draft. Then you get to Pittsburgh. Could they go Milroe? Quarterback back to back? I don't think so. Where do I think they go here? Omarion Hampton, a guy whose stock has been absolutely rising over the past few days. Pair him up with Jalen Warren in the Steelers' backfield. Obviously, we saw Najee Harris walked out the door. He's now a Los Angeles Charger. So I think Pittsburgh could plug and play at a new running back. And Hampton is a guy that's been rising on boards in the past few weeks. Give me Omarion Hampton to the Steelers. Then you look at the Los Angeles Chargers, you notice a lot of quality prospects still on the board, most notably Matthew Golden. who is clearly expected to go in the top 20, still on the board in this mock. You look at the Chargers, their best receiver they brought in, they did lose Josh Palmer. They brought back Mike Williams, had the season last season with the Jets and the Steelers. Familiar face back in Los Angeles to pair up with Ladd McConkey. Do I think they're done? No. And I think Matthew Golden ends up in Los Angeles. And if Matthew Golden turns out to be a really good player, that's with Justin Herbert at the helm. That's going to turn out to be a really, really good receiving core. Ladd McConkey in the slot, Matthew Golden on the outside, and you still have the big body, Mike Williams, this year as another outside receiver. But yeah. Green Bay Packers. Green Bay is also another weird team. I just never really know where they go. We saw him pick Jordan Love a few years ago, where a lot of teams were mocking him, Patrick Queen or Denzel Mims. So, yeah. Where did they go? I have zero clue. They could pick receiver. Who knows? They have a lot of bodies in that receiving core room. Jaden Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. So many bodies in that room, but who knows? They could go receiver. Interior offensive line. They brought in the Niners guard, blanking on his name right now, Aaron Banks. They brought in Aaron Banks. Elton Jenkins is expected to move to center. I think they go pass rusher here, and I think Shamar Stewart probably long overdue. A lot of general managers view him highly, and I think he goes to Green Bay here to add a pass rusher to that room. Minnesota Vikings numero 24. Tough spot. They have little to no holes. A lot of people are underrating the Minnesota Vikings again over the past month or so in the offseason so far. The Vikings, JJ McCarthy is going to be their quarterback this year, and they have little to no holes. They have a damn good receiving core. Aaron Jones is still there. I mean, TJ Hawkinson's still a very good tight end. A lot of people forget about him. Defense is still very good. Brian Flores, one of the best coordinators in the game. They have a really good team. They added Will Fries, added Ryan Kelly, added two interior D linemen, Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. They added a lot, and they have a good team. But you know who they did lose? Cameron Bynum, now an Indianapolis Colt, one of the most underrated safeties in the league. You know who's still on the board? Where's safety? Okay. Nick Emanwori, a guy since the combine that's been shooting up draft boards across mock draft nation, now projected as a late first round prospect. And I think that the Minnesota Vikings opt to go there to get their Cam Bynum replacement and give Brian Flores a shiny new toy. Then you get to the Houston Texans. I think this is a slam dunk. It has to be an offensive lineman here. Shaq Mason has since left. Laremy Tunsil got traded to the Washington Commanders. I mean, people leaving left and right. So, Houston Texans, offensive line. You can look at inside offensive line. Gray Zabel, very versatile, can play all five positions on the offensive line for you. Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama, very good player. You look at offensive tackle, Josh Conerly Jr., a guy from Oregon that did a very good job against Abdul Carter in the Big Ten championship game. Josh Simmons, off Ohio State product. In my opinion, it's either Gray Zabel or Josh Conerly Jr. here. And Zabel is way more versatile, but Conerly Jr. is probably the overall better player. I mean, Zabel played at North Dakota State. Wait, Houston brought in Cam Robinson, right? Am I blanking on that? Houston brought in Cam Robinson, right? Or did New England bring him? Wait, what? Am I blanking on that? Hold on, let me look this up real quick. Yeah, Houston brought in Cam Robinson. I don't know why I was thinking New England. Houston brought in Cam Robinson. I was blanking on that. So I think that makes him more likely to go Zabel. Cam Robinson's a very good offensive lineman, or I shouldn't say very good. He's average, but Zabel's can play guard, he can play center, he can play all five positions for you. Give me Zabel. Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford's on the older side. Could they go quarterback? That's a good question. Who knows? But You look at the Rams here, a lot of different directions they could go. Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan, projected to be a first rounder. Do they believe in Tyler Higbee? He has been injured over the past few years. Could they get a shiny new face at the tight end room? Tyler Booker, interior offensive line. Jonah Jackson is now in Chicago. Derek Harmon, Sean McVay loves his young defensive linemen. Kenneth Grant, another guy. So there's options. There's options here, nonetheless. Obviously, Cooper Kupp, your newest Seattle Seahawk. So, I mean, they could go receiver. They did lose Demarcus Robinson to the 49ers. Tutu Atwell still there. Do they get a nice young receiver? Could they get a guy like Abukar Luther Burden? Sean McVay, I feel like put another guy aside of Puka, or do you go get Tyler Booker? They could just go get Tyler Booker. That could be a possibility too. Or they could get Connerly. Who knows? Yeah, I guess I'll go Connerly. I'll go Connerly. He's mainly a primary tackle, but I'll go Connerly. He's probably one of the best players on the board right now, and that's the direction I'll go, I guess. But honestly, I could see him going receiver. I could see him going Tyler Booker. Like there's directions they can go there. So yeah. Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion, it's definitely defensive line. Defensive line here. It's edge or defensive line. You could look at Kenneth Grant, projected to be a first round prospect. Does he sneak in the back half of the first round? James Pierce Jr. I already have in my mind where I think James Pierce Jr. is going to go, but we'll get there in a second. Derek Harmon, another young defensive lineman. Donovan Ezra-Rockwell. I mean, there's options. Again, there's options. I think Donovan Ezra-Rockwell is a good player. I think he could go here. Jack Sawyer's probably a second round prospect at this point. D line, look at Kenneth Grant. Michael Pierce did retire, but they still have Matabike. I think defensive end's probably their guy. David Ojabo has not turned out to be the player that people thought he would be. I'm gonna go Ezra Rockwell as the newest Baltimore Raven. Detroit Lions, again, I say the same thing. These back half teams, playoff teams, perennial playoff teams, it's tough to know where they go because they have little to no holes. Look at teams like the Detroit Lions, probably a defender here, but the offense is pretty much set. So Loveland's not an option for them at this point. Sam Laporte is a good player, so they're not going to go there. Tyler Booker, I guess they could go. Detroit does have a little bit of a need at guard. Kevin Zeitler walked out the door this offseason to the Tennessee Titans. And I guess that's where I'll go. I mean, that's where I'll go. I guess I could see him going D lineman, but they have like Lee McNeil there, that which will be back next season. DJ Reader's still there. I mean, they have guys in that room, so I'll go with Tyler Booker. They fill a little hole at guard with the loss of Kevin Zeitler. So yeah, that's where they go. Washington Commanders again. I I think I have an idea of where they go here. It's going to be defensive line, no matter it's defensive end or interior. And one of these two guys is my pick here. Kenneth Grant, I think he's more likely to be the first round prospect over Harmon. So I'm going to go with Kenneth Grant to the Washington Commanders to fill the gap of Jonathan Allen. De'Aaron Payne and what's his face? The guy from Illinois, Johnny Newton. Johnny Newton are still in that room, but they add another body there with Kenneth Grant. Buffalo Bills. Definitely won't be Loveland. They have two very, very good tight ends. James Pierce, maybe. Josh Simmons, Derek Harmon. This is where it gets very, very rocky. This is where it gets rocky. I don't think they go corner. Benford's one of the better corners in the league. Mm. This is tough. Like this is tough. I could see a trade down here to a quarterback needy team potentially, but I think I'm gonna stay away from the trades for the rest of the first round. This is tough again. I mean, you could get Derek Harmon, pair him up right with Ed Oliver, plug and play, and I guess that's where I'll go. I mean, these perennial playoff teams have little to no holes, so it's tough to know where they're gonna go. But I'll go Derek Harmon, the Oregon product there. Kansas City Chiefs, I think that it's going to be tackle. They did bring in Jalen Moore, the very, very underrated swing tackle from the 49ers last year. They paid him a pretty good amount of money, fringe starter money, but I still think they're going to go in the tackle direction, have a competition. Um, Suamaiya, Jalen Moore, and a rookie tackle. You look at Cam Williams, look at Josh Simmons. I think it's Josh Simmons is their guy, the Ohio State product. If they get him, and we finish off with the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. And Howie Roseman did it again. I think they do it. I think they do it again. They pull it off again. And their guy ends up being James Pierce Jr. And that concludes it. That concludes the first round of the draft. Mock draft 3.5 trades were included. Obviously, the biggest trade of the draft. You look at number 4 overall, a New England, New Orleans swap. New Orleans moves up. Kellen Moore gets his quarterback in the future to sit behind Derek Carr for a year and Shedeur Sanders. New England still gets their tackle at number 9. Then you look at the next trade I had, the Denver Cleveland swap. Cleveland moves up to number 20 in the draft to get Jackson Dart, moves right above Pittsburgh, and Denver moves out of the first round, potentially get a guy like you could see a guy like Luther Burden going there, someone like that in the early second round. So yeah, I did include 2 trades, but a pretty interesting mock draft there, and I'm happy about it. So we got one up on the channel, and we are back in full swing NFL content. I am excited about it. If you guys did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe. That would all be greatly appreciated. This is probably my second to last mock draft I'll post on the channel this cycle. We're going to have one final mock draft the Wednesday before draft day. It's going to be a 3-rounder, round 1, round 2, round 3. It's probably going to be an hour marathon video. It's going to be a very, very long video. We're including trades, and it's going to be my final mock draft. All the studying in my brain for that final mock. But if you guys did enjoy, like, subscribe. That would all be greatly appreciated. And I'm going to go edit this video and make a thumbnail while I watch the Lakers Mavericks game. So, yeah, that will be fun. So, I'll see y'all next time.